this is what it's like, filming a documentary. Oh, if I tell the world that I'm just a normal human, are they gonna stop like coming to the shows and listening to the music, and like is all the craziness gonna stop? And then you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't tell them. Maybe I should keep the trick up. Maybe I should pretend that I'm Superman for a little bit longer.
You know, writing songs, and then I had a really huge song when I was really young, and then somehow wrote another really huge song when I was super young, and then another one after that, and none of that was coming from a knowing place. At least I had no idea what was going on. It was just like all kind of happening. Only in the last like 2 years I've realized like the real power that music is. And there's something so interesting, because I grew up kind of more or less atheist, and now becoming much more spiritual and really being sure there's a God, or sure there's a higher thing, and there's the universe, or whatever you like to call it. Music was the thing that did that for me. Watching Maverick City Choir, I think they're called Maverick City Choir, singing about God, singing about Jesus. I'm sitting there watching this YouTube video and they're singing about Jesus, and I just start crying my eyes out. And I'm like, you know when you're crying and it's like, this is like something leaving me? This is like that type of cry. It's like, you know, and I'm like, how is something that my whole life I've grown up to believe is fanatic and not science and not the truth feel like home because of this song? There's really truly a way that music gets to the soul and creates some. I'm stealing this from the words of Pharrell's uncle in the Netflix series that he just released. He says, music makes words that people don't want to hear out loud in speech more palatable. Back in ancient Greece, if there was a painter, or if there was like any type of creative person, and they would produce beautiful art, the people of the town would say that there was a genius living in the walls of the painter. And, you know, if it was amazing, they couldn't take all the credit because there was a genius living in the walls. And if it wasn't amazing, you also couldn't take all the credit because it wasn't all you. And she goes on to talk about how your only job is to just like show up and to open up to the fact that like anything can come and nothing can come too. And if nothing comes, like, don't be upset about it, because this is the creative process. This is not mechanical. This is not meant to be perfect, you know? And I think that for me, I was really trying to beat everything I've done. So I go through this whole kind of thing of trying to let myself go and be more free. And I show up to a studio in upstate New York. And I walked into the studio, I sat down, and I was like, I hope to God there's a creative genius in these walls, because I'm here and I got nothing. And it just happened. It started flowing, and it was like...
What did? What was the first thing that happened?
I always felt like I had to walk into a studio and command the room and be like, this is what we're gonna do. And I kind of just walked into the studio, and I looked at the writers and the people who I love and trust, and I just kind of hung out. And just sat there and kind of tried my best to let it come, and it did. And I feel really lucky for that, because I think the point of the creative genius thing is that sometimes it doesn't come, but don't get down on yourself when it doesn't, you know?